Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with some more Shadowverse. Today it is the turn of Dragoncraft. We have got the new card deck portal live, and we're going to go through, we're going to give you my live reactions to the cards, and I'm actually going to give you an initial impression through a 1 to 5 score of the card as well. Now, this is something that I used to do in previous games like Warpforged, so those who have followed the channel will be familiar. Just to remind you of what each score represents, so basically, a 5 is one of those kind of meta-defining cards, right? Everyone's going to want them in the deck. A 4 means it's a good card. Most of the meta deck should be made up of kind of good cards. A 3 means that it's okay, or it's situationally good. It can be pretty good in the right situation, but otherwise it can be a bit meh. So it's kind of like in that okay category. A 2 is it's probably a bad card mostly, and a 1 is pretty much unplayable. All right, let's have some fun, guys. This is like pre-release. Of course, some of these ratings are going to be wrong going forward, and also let me know in the comments where you agree or disagree. Put your scores as we go along, and let's keep the chat going. Appreciate all the support, and let's dive right into it. All right, so first up we have got Strike of the Dragoncraft. It says select an enemy follower on the field and deal 2 damage to it. If you're in overflow, deal 4 damage instead. I mean, for one, I think this card's okay because you're going to be, if we're going to be trying to ramp especially, and we might fall behind to some early minions, like having some removal is pretty good. Also, actually, in mirror matches, right, against things like Intimidate, where you can't physically attack things with followers, you might need these types of cards to remove stuff. So I'm actually going to say that this is probably a 3 for me. I think it's going to be like situationally good. It's only 1, so it fits in with a curve with other things. So I don't think it's a particularly good strong card, or I don't think it's a bad. I think okay, situationally good feels about right to me. Let me know in the comments what you think. All right, next up we've got one. This one's actually probably the hardest one for me in the whole thing to evaluate. It's called the Fan of Autoheim, and it's a spell. But basically we play it down, and then it's got engage 3, summon Otohime's bodyguard. So essentially, what we can do is we can decide when we want to engage by pressing the engage button, and it costs 3. So we'll lose 3 player points. And what it does is it summons this card, which is called Otohime's bodyguard. But then you select a card in your hand and discard it. So it allows you to kind of like correct the curve, right? If you're needing, I'm going to show you Otohime's bodyguard. It's over here. So Otohime's bodyguard is basically a 2/2. Of course, you can always evolve and super evolve these for extra stats, but it basically gives it storm and ward. So you can see how, like, situation that could be a finisher. You can see how it can be an emergency speed bump with the ward, and it's like kind of on curve as well, right? So yeah, I mean, overall, I feel like it's like a pretty bad card, if I'm honest. I feel like the stats that you're getting for 3 are really poor. But being able to course correct your hand and do what you need, like if you need removal, it's there. If you need that speed bump, it's there. So it could be situational. So I feel like this is somewhere between a 3 and a 4. I feel like it's somewhere between a 2 and a 3. I don't think it's unplayable. I feel like overall I'm going to say this is a bad card. I think it's a 2 for me. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Next up, we got the Searing Fire Newt. Fanfare. Select an enemy follower on the field and deal 1 damage to it. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's a pretty basic card, right? It's a bronze, it's a beginner card. It's like, if we're playing like tempo, essentially, it's fine. Overall, though, I don't think it's like anything impressive. I probably say overall I'd give it a 2 or a 2.5, somewhere around that. We've seen that card before, and we've also seen Little Dragon Nanny. This card is a cost 2. It's got 1 attack and 1 health. However, it says Fanfare, summon a Fire Drake Whelp. Now, this is a good card because the Fire Drake Whelp has got Intimidate, and Intimidate is super powerful, preventing the follower from being attacked by enemy followers. Not tradable. The opponent needs to use spells to get rid of it. I think this is going to be one of the more powerful keywords. I could be wrong, but I think this is going to be really powerful. And what you've got to think, guys, is that any card So the Fire Drake can be super evolved, right? This could become a 4/4. You're going to see there's other cards as well that can buff it. So you could buff this like Intimidate card, and suddenly it becomes this real problem for your opponent who can't remove it if they don't have the right spells. So I actually feel like access to Intimidate is a little bit of a premium, and I'm going to give Little Dragon Nanny, I'm going to give this a 4. I think this is going to be a good card, and I think there's going to be several strategies that revolve around it. Let me know in the comments what you think to that, but I definitely feel Intimidate is looking scary. And speaking of which, we've got another Intimidate card, the Windrider. It's cost 3, it's a 2/1. It says if you're in Overflow, give this follow Intimidate. So in the late game, we've got ourselves not only an Intimidate card, but also it comes with Storm. So we've got an Intimidate Stormer from hand. This card seems really good to me, guys. Like, I'm not going to lie, when it comes to aggro, okay, it's a 2/1, but you can evolve that to make it a 4, or super evolve it to make it a 5. Coming down, remember Overflow is once we're in once we've got 7 max player points. It's not turn 7, it's 7 max player points, because we've got ramp, haven't we, in this faction? So we're going to get there quick. Yeah, I think this card's really good. Do you know what? This card could be a 5, but in the early base set, this could potentially be a 5. I'm going to play it a bit safe, and I'm just going to call it a 4 for now. I think it's just a good card. Like, it's going to be really solid, and there's 100% going to be a lot of strategies around this card. This is going to be a win con for you. And again, that Intimidate is just super powerful. I'm really loving that Intimidate. Next up, we got Zel Windreader, which is a 3-drop. And it's got 3/3, so all the standard stats. This time it comes with Super Evolve, select another allied follower on the field, and give it Storm. So what you're looking to do with this guy then, it would be no good playing it on a card that's obviously already down on board, but if you can play it all at the same time as something else that's a good card but doesn't have Rush or Storm, then this is suddenly a really powerful combo. So it's a combo piece. Obviously, if you think about max player points of 10, you'd be wanting to play this with a 7-drop, to kind of like maximum in terms of max strength combo that you could do. So we'll have a look. Yeah, I think this is I'm gonna call this a 3 because it's a good ability, but it's definitely going to be situational, right? So I'm going to call this a 3 out of 5. Next up, we got the Dragon Sign. Lots been said about this one already. It used to be the Dragon Oracle, used to cost 2 energy, we know, but it was one of the most broken best cards in the OG Shadowverse for years. So it needed touching, right? What a lot of people complain about, I've seen though, is the fact that it now costs the secondary bit, which says if you have 10 max play points, draw a card. That's a nerf. It used to be an Overflow. So overall, I think people who have played the old game will be a bit disappointed. But I still think you're going to need to play this because perhaps not in aggro decks, but in all the ramp decks, this is going to be still a staple. You're still going to run 3 of them. I'm going to say that you'll see this in early on. I'm going to call this a 5. I think as they get more cards released in future sets, this might drop down to a 4, but I still don't see it being anything less than a 4 out of 5 because this ramp is so pivotal to the strategy, right? Anytime you can cheat the player points out, that is giving you a huge advantage over your opponent. Alright, we've got the draw card, which is draw 2. If you're in Overflow, restore 2 to defense to your leader. It's standard. I don't know how good draw is in I don't know how good it is in this game. I would call this a 2.5. It's somewhere between a bad card and an okay card, but I don't know how important draw is. Like, coming from Warforged, it wasn't that important. In Warforged, this would be a 2 out of 5. But if draw is more important, like it has been in previous TCG games that I've played, then I would actually say this is probably more of a 3 than a 2. So it's somewhere between there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Okay, particularly keen to hear from OG players there in terms of how important draw is and how worthwhile 3 player points is to draw 2 cards. I'd be really keen to hear that. Now, next up, we have the Draconic Berserker. Love this card, love the name, and I love the artwork. And yeah, as we can see, for 4 energy, we get a 4 attack, 5 health, nice beefy unit. And it says Evolve, which would make this a 6/7. Select an enemy follower on the field and deal 4 damage to it. So one thing I'm going to go out and say right now is that anything that deals damage on the turn it comes down is powerful, right? Because it's always helping win the tempo war, right? You're removing, but you're not just using a spell, you're developing your board at the same time. So I actually think this is a really powerful ability. 100% is a card I want to be playing in my Dragoncraft decks early on. It's also at 4 a good... Obviously, that's when you can evolve from 4 play points onwards, so potentially you're getting this out on 3. You might not need it that early, I don't know. This looks really good. If you've Dragon Oracled on the previous turns, your opponent might be a bit ahead on the board, you've ramped up, then you could play this and get back on as well, so it's got nice catch-up mechanics. Really well-designed card. I think this is really solid. I'm gonna give this like a... I'm gonna give this like a 4, maybe even a 4.5. Do you know what? Even in the late game, Super Evolve, deal that to all followers. So you get a 4 damage AoE, like an old Flame Strike for those old mage players from Hearthstone. You know what? This is close to a 5 for me. I reckon this is like a 4.5 for me. I really want to hold back on the 5s, but that's a really strong card. I'm gonna give it a 4, but it's a 4 to 4.5. It's really, really strong. Next up, we got the Fledgling Dragon Slayer. Obviously for 4, 2/2 is not great stats, but the fanfare says select an enemy, follow on the field and destroy it. Yeah, this is one of those abilities where, again, it's hard to judge before we start playing the game, but this could either be like one of those cards that's just in every deck, it's just a really solid, like having that kind of hard removal is just solid, or it's just going to be like an overpriced load of nonsense and there's going to be better ways of using it. And I can't really tell at this stage. I mean, some of these late game units that look pretty fearsome, if we start seeing those a lot, then obviously playing this in the late game could be good. I wonder whether this could be a card that you don't play a full set of 3 of, you know? Is this one of those tech cards that you put in where you don't want to be drawing multiples, but maybe having 1 or 2 floating in your deck to draw late game, you throw it back in the mulligan, you draw it late game and it helps you deal with stuff. Maybe it's going to be used in that way, but it's a bit of a mystery. So I think at the minute I'm gonna say that this is... I'm going to say it's 3. I'm going to play it really safe and say situationally good. Obviously, taking out a big body is going to be great. And then other times, it's just going to be sat in your hand, not doing the right lot. I feel like it's closer to being a bad card. Like, I feel like it's closer to being a 2, if I'm being honest. But because I don't know, I'm going to play it safe and give this a 3 for now. Let me know for sure in the chat what you guys think to that card. Next up, we do have the White Scale Herald. For 4 energy, this is a 4/4, so it's kind of like what I'd call the standard stats, right? For 4 energy, you get 4 attack, 4 health. That's what we'll call standard. So stat line's acceptable, but it says fanfare. If you're in overflow, restore 4 defense to your leader. Now, again, I don't know how important heal is, but one thing that does worry me about in Shadowverse is only having 20 health on your leader. Other games have more than that, and I'm thinking it's not a lot. And I'm seeing some of these storm units, and I'm thinking, oh my god. So actually, I feel like heal could be very, very clutch and very, very important. Again, OG players keen to hear from you. But I actually think that this card is pretty decent. I'm going to... but again, playing it on 4, it's like, meh, it's okay. So I'm going to give this one also a 3 out of 5. Next up, we've got another 4-drop, Marian. This is the Ravishing Dragonote. 3/3, and fanfare says select another allied follower on the field, give it +2/2. That's a very good fanfare ability. If you're in overflow, give it +3/3. So if we've got 7 player points, remember that doesn't mean turn 7 in Dragoncraft. If we ramped twice, that could be turn 5. So being able to get +3/3 onto something, plus the 3/3 stats that you've got, you're giving +3/3 to something that's already on the board, so it gets to attack. It's almost got rush built into it, right? So it's tempo again. So I just think that this is a really strong ability. I feel this is really solid. I'm going to give this a... I'm going to give this a 4. I'm being super... This is another one of those that's like a 4.5 for me. It just feels really, really good. If I'm being safe, I'm going to give it a 4, but it's no worse than that. Now, look... Feng, Goldennote Ward. Now, this is my first 5 out of 5 card, this, guys. It's a 4-drop, it's a 3/3, and it says if you're in overflow, evolve this follower. Right, and when the follower evolves, you gain +1 max player points. So, in other words, if I got this on 4 player points, I'd just evolve, because it's a great way to spend an evolve point, right? This becomes a 5/5, and we ramp, basically. And if it's... if we're already at the 7, if we're already in overflow, then we don't even need to spend the evolve point, and we just get it. This is a 5 out of 5. Like, this is the ramp card so far. Like, I absolutely This card is just insane. Yeah, it's 5 out of 5. Like, there's just no... There's no doubt in my mind with that one, for sure. 3 copies every day. You know, maybe not an aggro deck. Maybe even still in an aggro deck. I don't know. Next up, we got the Battleforged Dragon Keeper. This thing is a 5/5, and it says Enhance 7. So instead of playing it for 5, we can play it for 7 if we've got 7 player points. And it says Summon a Vast Winged Dragon. Now, that is 10/10's worth of stats for 5, but sorry, for 7, which but does nothing when it comes down. So, like, I feel like this is going to be one of those traps where you're going to look at the raw stats and go, it looks like really good value, but by the time you get to 7 player points, do you really want to be playing cards that you just dump stats on the board and do nothing? Again, anyone who's come from Warforged or any CCG knows that that's generally not a good card. So I think this is going to be a bad card. So beginners be warned, because you might look at this and think it's really good value, and I actually feel like it's a bad card. I don't know if I'd say it's unplayable. You know what? It might even be... Is this my first one? I think it's a 1.5. I don't think this is a good card. I'm going to go 1.5. I'm going to sit on the fence. Next up, we got the Sword Snout Trencher. Gotta love these names. Fanfare. If you're in Overflow, give this follower Storm. Ooh. Okay. Now, we're going to get to Overflow quick, as we've already said, because of ramp. Having Storm without evolving is pretty decent with 4 attack. It's not bad. But if you then evolve this and go 6, or super evolve and go 7, I feel like this is going to be a pretty good card in like mid-range builds that are not necessarily playing those big late game things and wanting to close out. This could be pretty good. Yeah, I feel like this is pretty good. I feel like, but then if it's not in that situation, do you really want to just be coming on and doing like 4 damage to face? But it is so. But Storm is so powerful. This is going to get me, guys, because I'm not used to it. But we've got to start playing the game. I'm going to give this a 3.5. I can't decide whether it's just say situationally good, or do I just think this card's just good. You know, in Dragoncraft, I'm going to say this is a 4. I think it's a good card. But then, is it as good as some of those other 4s we've just talked about? Ugh. Yeah, it's a 3.5 to 4. What do you think in chat? Help me out. I'm cheating. Next up, we got the Axe-wielding Dragon Slayer. Love the artwork on this. What a cool card. Yeah, this is nice. But unfortunately, I'm not sure about the ability. So look, it costs 6. We're getting to the pricier end of the pool now, right? And it's got 5 attack and 10 health, and it's got ward. So obviously, with 10 health and ward, that looks pretty nice because you prevent enemy followers from attacking anything else. They've got to come through this, yeah? It's the big guard. Now, the thing I like about this... So, I actually think it's a bit of a trap card, but the thing that I do like about it... You know, if you've played Hearthstone, you've used Taunt and things like that, so you know what we're talking about, Vanguard from Warforged, is that if you're playing the big cards, right? So if you've got those big 9 drops, 10 drops coming down, this might bait out hard removal, so this would go quite well in that typical ramp with big stuff Timmy build, right? I think this could be decent in that deck. I would give it a 3 in that deck, but outside of that deck, you actually want them to use hard removal, but outside of that deck, though, I would say this is probably a bad card. Yeah, I think it's like I'm doing a lot of on the fence today, but I feel like it's a 2 to 3, so I'm going to go 2.5. I just feel like the baiting out of hard removal could be the main value of that card. And next up, we have got Kit, Luxfang Champion. Another 6 costing unit, but this time we're coming in with 8 attack and 7 defense. This is when this card is discarded. When this card is discarded, give a random allied follower on the field +1. Okay. And it's got Rush. So flank from Warforged, right? This comes on and attacks an enemy unit. You can't attack the enemy follower. I think this is good. I mean, again, I need to know how good Rush is. We know flank in Warforged was very powerful. I would say this is like... I would say that this is like a bad card overall, because just bringing it on to... I don't know, though. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I'm going to say 3. I think it's situationally good. It's okay. It's not a good card. It's not a solid card, but it's situationally okay. It's also getting a bit expensive. Another 6 drop here. We have Zahar Stormwave Dragoon. Love the card art on this one. For 6 play points, though, we've got 3 attack and 3 defense. And it says fanfare. Summon a West Wing Dragon, and it's got ward. So the dragon is the 5/5, right? And it's also got intimidate. So it's got intimidate. I've already talked about how good intimidate is. A 3/3 with ward. I actually think that's pretty good. You're getting 8/8 of stats. You're putting a blocker down on the board. And you've got an intimidate unit. I mean, you could super evolve the intimidate unit next turn, right, and turn that into a 9/9, an 8/8, sorry, that can't be attacked by followers. This feels, you see, this feels way better than the previous one, right? The previous one that had the 10 defense, that feels like it's doing a lot more for me at 6 drop. I would say that is, I'm going to give that a 4. I think that's a pretty good card. Next up, we've got Forte. This thing coming down with Storm and Intimidate, I honestly just think this is a 5. Because, again, I've said how much of a premium I'm putting on Intimidate. And obviously, Storm is super powerful. We can end the game. And the thing with this thing is, you know, you can super evolve it and it can be at 8 damage. At 8/5 with Intimidate. Oh, my God, that immediately can hit face. Yeah, that's a 5. That's a 5, no doubt. Calamity Breath, love the artwork on this. Holy smaug. 6 for 6 play points. It says deal 5 damage to all followers. So this is like the Flame Strike from the Hearthstone Mage. Like this, the big AOE. Obviously, barrier units are immune to it, but deal 5 damage to all followers. Could it be good? I think this one might depend on what the meta is, right? Like, if you are playing against sort of like lots of go wide as you're trying to ramp up, then it might be necessary. Overall, I really do feel like this could be a bad card, because let's say you do clear the board, right? Then it's your opponent's turn, they get to rebuild anyway. So just in terms of card game mechanics, sometimes these cards seem like they're great, but actually you're still behind. And that's the problem. So I actually don't... It's definitely not a good card. Is it okay? It's really difficult until we actually play. I think in those go wide metas, this would be a 3 out of 5. Outside of that, though, it might just be a bad card and be a 2. So I'm going to go somewhere between a 2 and a 3 with Calamity's Breath. Next up, we have Bernite. And this card is 7 cost. It's got 7 attack and 7 defense. Fanfare. Select a card in your hand and discard it. Deal X damage to all enemy followers, and X is the cost of the selected card. And we just saw a previous card that cost 6 that said if you discard it, it does something. So basically, the bigger the card you discard, the more damage you do to all enemy followers. It doesn't hit enemy face, important to note. But this is a much better board clear, right? Because what you're doing is you're actually developing the board, whereas Calamity Breath was bad. So I feel like that is a pretty good effect, actually. Then it says Super Evolve. Important that we've got that whenever we see an actual ability on Super Evolve, that's added value. It says give your opponent crest, Brunette, Anathema, Flame. So you can give your opponent a crest. How cool is that? Okay, so you give your opponent a crest, and it says crest at the start of your turn. In other words, at the start of your opponent's turn, deal 1 damage to your leader. So they're on a clock. Once on each of your turns, when your leader's defense is restored, deal 1 damage to it. So if they try to heal, they take more damage. I love the design. I love the design of this card. Oh, I'm definitely playing this card. Is it good, though? Yeah, I think it's good. I think this is a 4. I think this is a good card. I think this is a good card. I think that's a good card. I think it's also a really fun fun card as well. Like, the design is interesting. Next up, we got Warrior of the Deep. An 8-drop, 6/6, fanfare, deal 6 damage to the enemy leader. You know what, this feels a bit like a kind of one of those typical kind of beginner cards. You expect to see cards like this. But, you know, the other thing is like, it is still a finisher. So what this feels to me a bit like is like if you're a beginner and let's say you're a free-to-play player and you don't have all the cards, you could still build like a deck that could win games around cards like this, because 6 damage to face is 6 damage to face, right? So maybe it's in like, yeah, maybe this is like the top end of the curve in like an aggro deck, and again maybe you just run a couple of them or something, but it feels like the top end of a curve of an aggro deck. So it depends how good Dragon aggro is. Overall, I think this is gonna be I think this is like a 3 then. It's an okay card. I can't call it a bad card because dealing a third of the damage to face seems reasonable, but it does cost 8. You know, I do feel like it's a bad card, but it could win you the game. Man, this class is really putting me on the fence today, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's somewhere between a 2 and a 3. I feel like it's probably going to be a 2 in the long run. But again, if aggro dragon's a thing, then it's definitely slightly better. Okay, so for 8, now these cards have got to be good now when they're costing 8. The Silver Cloud Dragon Rider. It's got 6 attack and 6 defense, and it's got ward. So you will have to kill this. Last words, summon of another intimidate dragon, right? Okay, so let's just think about this. The big problem I've got here compared to the other one costs 6, right? Whereas this is 8 to get this guy out, and it doesn't do much when you put it down, right? So you're putting this down, and okay, it's got ward, right? So your opponent has got to get through it. But is 6 health, is 6 defense that good at this stage in the game? Like if it's turn 4, turn 5, yeah, it's pretty good. But by the time we're playing 8 drops, is 6 good enough? Now, obviously, you do then get to play this big body, but the problem is that if they get through this really easily, do they even care at this point? Do they just get through and finish you? I don't feel like this is terrible, but I don't think it's as good. I think I prefer the 6 drop, if I'm honest. I feel like this is going to be another one of those that's in between a 2 and a 3. I feel like it's edging towards a 2 for me. Maybe if this cost 7, it'd be a 3, but I feel like it's a 2. But let me know what you think. Next up, we've got Guaru. Now, we saw this, didn't we, in the pre-release? This is a really fun card. It's 8, and it's also a legendary card, right? So we're expecting this to be decent, and it's a 5/5. And if you remember, on Fanfare, you summon a Golden Dragon and a Supreme Silver Dragon. So no need to evolve to get them. You just immediately get them. That's a 4/5 and a 5/4, right? So you are getting an extra 9/9 worth of stats across 2 bodies, plus your 5/5. So you're already, like, stat overload, right? Not to mention, the Supreme Golden Dragon has Ward, and the other one has Rush, so we can clear something off. And it says if you choose to Super Evolve, and by the way, this is probably the best target for Super Evolve in the entire class. It says give all copies of Supreme Golden Dragon on the field Storm. And give all copies of Supreme Silver Dragon on the field Barrier. So the one that already had Rush gets Barrier, and the one that had Ward gets Storm. So they can kind of just both do not the same thing, but they can both attack and they both got some defensive buff. This is a great card. This is just everything you would want out of a legendary in the late game. I definitely think it'll be played. I definitely think it'll be powerful, and it's classic like ramp, and it's just going to take over boards. I think it's a 5. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Next up, we've got the Twilight Dragon. This is a huge beefy boy, 9/9 for 9, and give all followers on the field -0, -9. Now, what I learned from speaking to some OG players about this is, you might say, well, why doesn't it just do 9 damage if it kills everything at 0? Well, because if things have got, like, Barrier, for example, if it gets reduced to 0, then it just dies. So, I actually feel like this is a really good board clear. Very, very good. You could Super Evolve it to draw 3 and refill. That's also very good. I think this is a great card too. The only problem with this card is it's one of those big bodies that then is very susceptible to just the, you know, instant kill. You know, like a Bane, like a Portalcraft puppet that has Bane, right? A little 1/1 flanker that just kills it. So for that reason, I don't know that I want to give this a 5. But it is very good. I would say that this is like a 4.5 for me. Maybe a 4, because it does cost 9. Yeah, 4 to 4.5. And then you've got the Genesis Dragon, which is like a very weird card to evaluate, because first of all, it costs 10. So I think there'll be games that you lose or win at like around 8, 9, and you just never get to play it. But it's in Dragoncraft. So again, it's not turn 10 because we've ramped. So in a ramp deck, yes, I think this card is going to be playable. And yes, I think Storm on this thing is going to be good because you can get this up to 12 attack with Super Evolve. And it's just going to win you some games. So where do I put this? I put this somewhere between a 3 and a 4. Because even in Dragoncraft, I still think 10 is a lot. And I think it obviously dies. It's a big Timmy card though. It's going to be a lot of fun. Do we give it a 3 or a 4, guys? What do you think? Let me know in chat. I'm going to say... Let me know in the comments what you think. But I'm going to give this a... This has been an on-the-fence review, so I'm going to give this a 3.5 overall. So there we go, guys. We have completed our Dragoncraft overview. We are doing this with all of the factions, so if you enjoyed this one, thanks for all the support. Please subscribe and hit that thumbs up. And if you did enjoy this one, check out this one next.